Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor. It is Monday. I'm getting a late start. I got kids home from school now. Everybody's out of school, and now I have to deal with my youngest all summer long. That's the way things work. And he loves to bother his daddy and get me to do all kinds of stuff. So, check this out. China dumps 53 billion of U.S. bonds following joint statement from Russia about moving away from reliance on Western countries. Chinese government announced sold at least 53.3 billion worth of U.S. bonds. Swiss economic expert. It was a wise decision to diversify away from the USD. Gold has outperformed U.S. bonds by 75% since 2021. Check this out. Gold, copper, both at all-time highs. Every commodity exploding higher as inflation set to storm right back. Wow. All right, and you know, there's not many places that have said it, but I've walked in one of those shipping containers where there's like that company, I can't remember the name of it, where they put all these Bitcoin mining machines in a shipping container. I remember going to one of the Bitcoin conferences and walking inside of one of those shipping containers that had all these Bitcoin mining machines in there. And I remember looking at one of my friends and saying, this is so stupid. There's no freaking way this is the future of finance. It's almost like they're playing a joke on it. It's almost like we're on candid camera. Well, apparently they've figured it out in Venezuela.
Bueno, hola a todos. Aquí estamos en la zona industrial de Valencia, en una de las tantas granjas de minería que hemos bloqueado y hemos desconectado por, bueno, la necesidad que tenemos de que esos megavatios que se están prácticamente robando del sistema interconectado nacional para la producción de criptomonedas en detrimento del pueblo de Carabobo, bueno, no se pueden seguir absorbiendo y de esa manera disminuir el consumo, al igual que, bueno, que todas las políticas que vendrán a partir de ahora sobre los grandes consumidores en el Estado mientras esto se normaliza. Nosotros tenemos en este momento que tener conciencia porque nuestros habitantes, el pueblo de Carabobo, evidentemente está siendo impactado por este tema eléctrico que en cierta manera tiene que ver mucho con esto. Entonces, miren esto. Estos son contenedores enteros, contenedores enteros de máquinas. Aquí se decomisaron miles y miles y miles de máquinas. Miren, esas son máquinas. Miren esto. Todo eso son puras máquinas. Pura máquina para acá. Pura máquina para acá. Sí. Son contenedores arriba y abajo. Arriba y abajo. Estos son máquinas. Máquinas de criptomonedas. Pero una cosa impresionante esto. Yo no sabía que esto era tan grande. Aquí en este momento en Carabobo, mire, yo no tengo nada en contra de esto. Yo no tengo nada en contra de las criptomonedas, ni nada que se le parezca. Yo no tengo nada en contra de lo que esté obviamente autorizado. Yo no sé si esto estuvo o no autorizado por Caracas, no lo puedo saber. Lo que sí...
Says authorities in Venezuela released video documenting the seizure of a large Bitcoin mining facility following this week's decree to crack down on the industry. So apparently they were affecting the electrical grid or something. all pieces of the puzzle. Now back to the real world with things that make sense. This is Ripple in the room with some of the people from the BIS. There's Benedict Nolans, head of BIS Innovation Hub Hong Kong. James Wallace, Central Bank Engagements, CBDCs. And meanwhile, you'll hear the anti-crypto, anti-XRP army. They are out there full steam ahead to try to act like nothing's going on with Ripple or XRP Ledger and all that. Keep talking, guys. Have your fun.
So this is an update.
Have your fun in your spaces with 15 people.
Project Enbridge. So let's go back to what Project Enbridge is. It is a shared payment infrastructure that uses CBDC, in particular wholesale CBDC, of the participating central banks to achieve instant cross-border payments. So having listened to the panel just now, a lot of the concepts that they talked about, wholesale CBDC, one platform, interoperable by design, settlement finality, two-tier, atomic settlement, that's what we're seeking to achieve with the Enbridge.
The core system does not use XRP, right? We're using the same technology that is with the XRP ledger. The token would be the CBDC, right? So the central bank would actually create their own token, a digital euro, a digital dollar, whatever the market is, and that becomes a digital asset.
As the native coin.
The native coin, yeah. Now, where XRP could come into play potentially is when you're looking at cross-border CBDC. So when you have a digital dollar and you have a digital, real, or digital pound, you obviously need to have some way to interact cross-border. Yeah. So I think the BIS called this a multi-CBDC model. One of the ideas is you use a sort of a neutral bridge currency to go from one to the other, similar to the model I explained earlier, where with our on-demand liquidity. But the core offering really is not XRP. There's no XRP involved. It's the native token is the CBDC.
The Enbridge has been built on three key pillars. We always thought it is critical to not just think about technology, but to think about legal and governance. And we thought about them in parallel to thinking about the technology. It is often that you develop a technology and then you realize you're missing the legal and the governance aspect. We did not want it to be there, so we have a parallel process. So let me elaborate on each of these three tiles. So the first one is the technology. It is, as you might know by now, if you've read the reports, it is a decentralized network. That means it is built.
All right, we're not going to watch the whole thing. I wanted to move along.
Like
Here's James Wallace.
This is basically the form factor. So to come to the, let's say, the settlement infrastructure, James. And I know you are involved in multiple CBDC projects. So what is your view on the settlement infrastructure? How could this look like for a CBDC and maybe also on digital euro, if you have insights on?
Yeah, okay. So I think the settlement infrastructure seems to be two sort of primary camps, if you like, two thoughts. One is blockchain or DLT, and the other is more of a traditional centralized system. I think it's clear that if you just have one use case and you just know that that's the one use case and that's all it's ever going to be, then a centralized system is quite good, right? I mean, you can be well controlled. Where it breaks down is when you want to offer future use cases that you don't know what they are yet, right? So, a traditional system is very hard to rewire or re-engineer. It's also very difficult to have other participants join in with it. Right, so I think this is why in most countries blockchain or DLT is becoming the preferred choice. It allows cost efficiency, but I think the most important thing is it provides this platform that you can allow other participants to add use cases on. So I think some of us in the industry call it a platform for innovation. The point being, the central bank I think will provide the basics, which would be interbank settlement and then a cash alternative, right? My view is if that's all that happens with a CBDC, that's a failure, right? It should be a new innovation, a new platform, a new infrastructure that will allow new use cases, right? So obviously you want to do things faster and cheaper, but this new use case idea, a lot of people are now starting to think about Web3, so internet-based applications, whether it's tokenizing real estate or tokenizing bonds or other different use cases, you need a digital asset as a settlement mechanism, right? And that works very well in a blockchain environment. You can permission people in a very secure way. The other topic that comes up that's relevant to this is interoperability, right? And I think it's worth spending a minute on that. There's lots of different definitions. As a technology company, there's obviously interoperability between different technologies. So let's say the ECB picks one technology and the US picks another and other countries pick another. How are you going to interoperate at a technology level when it comes to cross-border payments, right? That's one dimension. The other one, which I think is probably the most important, is how do you interoperate with the existing payments landscape? So, we have today, through the merchant business, and you have, point of sale terminals that accept different devices. How does a CBDC interoperate with that? Right. I think that's a big topic as well. And then the third area is around policy. Different countries may have different rules on how much you can hold, right? I don't know. Within the ECB, it's maybe even up to the individual member countries to change some elements of the rule book, maybe, right? So then how do you reconcile that? So it goes back to Manfred's point. There's a lot of different complexities here. Interoperability has to be solved to enable these very fast settlements across these different diverse technologies. Then I think you will see the private sector building new things on top, and that's really where I think the innovation will come.
Very interesting clip. Check this one out. Now this is Ripple had established an office in Sao Paulo. I'm sure I'm butchering that name, in Brazil, and this is apparently one of the guys. Let me see, Silvio Pagado. He's at Ripple there in Brazil. Listen to what he says.
Brasil, temos um escritório no Brasil, aqui em São Paulo, desde 2019.
Um bom tempo já.
Um bom tempo. E hoje a gente tem 17 pessoas. 17 pessoas no escritório aqui, que é dividido entre área comercial e também uma área mais de engenharia, mais técnica.
Interesting. Then we have this. Today, big shakeup at Grayscale. CEO Michael Sonnensen steps down. Wall Street Journal. Grayscale names Goldman's Peter Mintzberg as new CEO. So I want to show you something interesting, right? Well, first of all, I put Wall Street interstage left. So now Goldman Sachs people are coming in to run Grayscale. This is Barry Silbert announcing that the exit of Sonnensen and the entry of this guy from Goldman Sachs. Well, watch this interesting clip, because many of you may remember, if my computer will stop slowing down, many of you may remember what was going on with Grayscale or with Digital Currency Group, which is Barry Silbert's company, and then it owns Grayscale and Genesis that filed bankruptcy. Do you remember the controversy with Genesis? Well, this is Peter McCormick from What Bitcoin Did YouTube channel, interviewing Michael Sonnensen a little while back. This thing gets kind of dicey.
I don't believe you. I just have to be honest, I don't believe you. Are you looking at the weights?
He was asking Sonnensen, he said, look, Grayscale is interconnected with Genesis, which was owned by Digital Currency Group. You're telling me basically you didn't know anything about anything going on there? These people were borrowing money, and then a lot of it's going into GBTC at Grayscale. There's all this interconnectedness, and basically saying he doesn't believe him, that he didn't know about some of this.
I don't believe you. I just have to be honest, I don't believe you.
Are you looking at the whites of my eyes?
I don't believe you.
Okay.
And I don't believe you at all. And I know there's no chance you're going to come here and admit it. I just wanted to see you say it, but I don't believe you.
We're sitting here on a lovely Friday afternoon having a beer. You've asked me a ton of questions. I have given you an honest and wholesome answer to every single thing you've asked of me. So I'm disappointed to hear that you don't believe me.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry, I don't. Because do you know what? I just don't. Like, you talked about how much you've been at the company longer than anyone else. You are essentially the number one employee. You've been the managing director. You've been the CEO. You've worked with Barry for over a decade. You know this business better than anyone else. You said you know the customers. You understand the sales. You understand the account management. Even the largest customers will still have a relationship with you. You also had said you have intercompany relationships. You know the CEOs of the other companies. But you didn't know this. So if you didn't know this, I would say either you're lying or you're incompetent, but you should have known.
Wow.
I just feel like you should. If you're the CEO of this company and you have interrelationships with companies like Genesis, you should know this. And because of this, there's been very severe consequences for a range of people. People's lives have been destroyed.
So you sound like you're on a little bit of a fishing expedition. I again reiterate to you, everything I've shared with you is wholesome and truthful. And again, I'm disappointed that my answers aren't satisfactory to you.
Yeah, well, we're not here to be used as a PR tour.
This isn't a PR tour. We're just two guys having a conversation about Bitcoin on a Friday afternoon.
I mean, look, I hope your SEC lawsuit is successful. I really do. But I've always been truthful with people when I do this podcast. And somebody knew what was up. And this will come out in the courts itself. I mean, you may yourself face questioning yourself, face litigation yourself. Barry almost certainly will. And this will come out eventually, I'm sure of it. But I just don't believe it. I'm really sorry. I don't mean to be a dick. I think it's better to tell you I don't believe you. Because if you did know, and you can do something about this, that's what I hope you do. I hope from this you would go.
That was pretty wild. Now, I'm going to go in DAIXRP.com. I'm going to show you a little bit about this Peter Mintzberg that just became Grayscale CEO from Goldman Sachs. We're also going to talk about the mother of all Twitter files, X files, whatever you want to talk about, because I think this is an interesting thing that's about to go down. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, tell your friends and family. Here we go. Mother of all Twitter files or X files or whatever you want to call it. And Peter, or whatever his last name is. Here we go.